All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So there will be a recording if anyone needs the recording, but we'll make this session pretty brief. So the first part that I want to talk about today is going to be creating a webinar and why people have webinars. So webinar is a virtual event that people have normally in a video form where people can learn more about info products or services, and they can also be physical products. Basically anything that has business has to offer, they can present it within a webinar format. So for example, if you are a car salesman and you're thinking of how can I get more people in at scale, if you're a car salesman, you can not only have a car sales for a specific car, but also the parts. Because if you have, let's say, a Mercedes, you might need specific tires, rims, all these different things. You can start to sell these things to people who are car enthusiasts. So instead of having a one-on-one session, you can get a bunch of car enthusiasts together and then pitch to them whatever car or detailing that you have. So that's one example of how a traditionally non-webinar business can become a webinar business. The same thing can go for services. If, for example, you are a website builder, you could get a bunch of businesses who either need a website, or specifically, let's say if you're building websites for the beauty industry, you could get specifically estheticians who need to book more clients to be on your webinar. You teach them how to book more clients, and then at the end, you're like, hey, I've got this service where I can build this website for you so you can get these services out. So kind of those are some examples of webinars in different industries using webinars. So I have 5 key things that I make sure every webinar has in order for a successful launch. So for example, this webinar again is recorded, so I can take these pieces and make it content. And I can also put this into a video sales letter, and then this can run forever on evergreen content. So those are some different things that you can do with webinars once you already have them. But the main parts that I like to include are lead generation, which I prefer to do through social media or paid groups. Then you go ahead and do your landing pages after you craft your offer. So those are 3: offer, landing pages, social media. Then after you have that, you have your automations, which can be SMS, call, or email automations. And then lastly, you have your backend offers. So with all of those 5 things, you should be able to run a successful webinar. Now, webinars can be pre-recorded or live. Some of you will be watching this pre-recorded. And once you have the information that you want to say, you'll make sure that you present the information. Normally, it tends to be a keys to something, some success principles. It's normally a 3 to 5 step process that people present within a webinar. And then hopefully on the back end, you have an offer that can expand on either a certain aspect or the success principles that you present as a whole. So another example of this could be if you are I had someone tell me that they were selling furniture. If you're selling furniture, not only could you sell, okay, this person was doing staging. We can get a whole bunch of real estate agents or Airbnb people together. And once you have them, you can present not only, okay, this is how you have a successful Airbnb, or these are the 5 steps to staging a successful home. On the back end, you say, if you want this fully done for you, I have a service where I can do that, or you can get your pieces here. So that's an example of how you can take some success principles and then have an offer at the end. So once you figure out initially what you want to have your offer on, and this is again going to be your principles and your back end offer, you can go ahead and start generating leads through social media. You probably would need to capture those leads. So that's the power of a funnel or a landing page. So with those, you need forms collecting at least name, email, phone number. It's actually a deterrent. When you ask for a phone number, you get less opt-ins that way. But if for your business you need that, you can go ahead and grab that. But Once you have name and email, especially if you are doing a free webinar, that's all you should be capturing from people. You want the opt-ins to be high, so the less they have to put in, the higher the opt-ins can be. Once you have your landing page, you can go post that to different social media platforms. If you're B2B, I suggest platforms like Alignable, LinkedIn, and some Facebook groups. If you're selling some more consumer items, going back to the Facebook groups, Pinterest, and if you're using Instagram, those are best. And if you're more kind of in the middle, you're in the creator economy, I do have an AI bot that I can drop down below where you can figure out which software is best for you depending on who your target audience is. So once you complete that, you should have 3 steps already. Your offer. You should also have your landing page. And then you should also have your social media. After that, you will have these people's emails, just like people that were able to sign up for this webinar. They received at least a bare minimum of 4 emails reminding them of the webinar, their confirmation emails, and then again letting them know that the webinar was starting 15 minutes and that the webinar has started. So with those 4 automations, hopefully the opt-in rate is higher. So you do things for lead generation, but you also need to make sure that people come to your webinar. So that is your show up rate. So we have some different rates that we're looking at within the webinar realm, and your automations help you with that. So after we have all of those, of course, we have the back end offer, which could be in the front end offer, but it is a completely separate one because sometimes people get caught up in the offer of what is the webinar going to be about, but not really thinking about what is the back end offer. So when we're thinking of our back end offer, we need to think of what could be put at scale. So most of the times at the webinars, people have templates that they sell, group coaching programs. They also sell courses. So those are like the main things that people end up selling on webinars. If you are selling a one-off product, webinars are great for that as well. I've also been a part of a webinar launch where it was a specific product. It was a cream. They found the target audience for that cream. They had people on, but then they had a challenge behind it where if you wanted to be in the challenge, you could go ahead and do that by purchasing the creams. So there's lots of different ways that webinars can be utilized, especially when you're pitching an offer. You just have to figure out what that is for you. And if you either want to have a webinar to generate money, you should think about the back end offer. Or if you already have an offer and you need people, you might need a webinar. So, with all of those things being said, we have our top 5 webinar secrets. And if you need help creating your webinar, I also have templates that you can get to help you with this process. So, I have an all inclusive package called the Plug Machine Webinar in a Box. This includes 4 sales pages. So, as you get or 4 steps in your funnel, your first step is your sales page. Then you get your payment page. Then after that, you have an upsell page. So if you would like to join VIP, which if you came through this funnel, there is an option to join VIP. Then there's a thank you page. So you get those 4 pages. You also get email automation. So you get 3 email automations, one for if people join for free, one if people join paid, and then one for your back end offer or just making sure that people get onto the webinar as well. And then you will also have access to a AI bot that I created called Millions Off Copy and Paste. This AI bot is programmed with some of the top marketers and top copywriters so that you can have copy that reflects a sales page or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. It's written for sales pages, but you can do more things like your copy content for your social media. You could get content for your forms if you are having specific forms where they need to fill out different things. This AI bot can be used for whatever you want. It is a text input and text output AI bot. And then lastly, you will have access to video trainings showing you how to put these into your system. Now, the system that we use is Go High Level. You'll also have an opportunity to have a 14-day free trial with Go High Level if you are new to it. If you do get the package. Now, if you think that sounds good, this package is only $9.97. If you are having problems either with payment or you see one or two things that you need out of the package or not everything, you can break up the packages individually where you can select different items, and I will drop the link for that as well. Or if you go through the funnel, you'll see an option for a 4 payment plan. So you can pay $2.97 a month or $9.97 one time, and then you will have access after 4 months for your full free. So those are our different options that we have. If you are looking for more help on webinars, I definitely recommend that you join our community. We will be having webinars like this all of the time. But again, our 5 key webinar success principles include our initial offer of our webinar. We normally have 3 key success principles to each of our webinars. For this example, I have 5 key principles to the webinar, and that's what you normally pitch to people. After that, we have our social media or lead generation. We need our landing pages so that we're collecting name, email, maybe phone number. Phone number deters people as an opt-in. We also need to have a back end with our automations. So for me, I use SMS, email, call, or AI automations depending on what the business is and webinar is. And then lastly, we have our back end offers. So with all 5 of those things, you should be able to have a successful webinar. And then, of course, like we said, you take all of the webinar recordings, you drop them into a VSL or video sales letter, and then you will be able to pitch forever and you'll never have to do another webinar again. This is a success principle that I've seen a lot, especially with clickfunnels.com. They have something called a Your First Funnel Challenge. I actually participated live. They do it live normally once a year or sometimes twice a year, but essentially they get a bunch of recordings from experts in the industry like Shark Tank, Damon John. They have other experts that are experts in copywriting or different things that actually bring ClickFunnels up. So not only if you're like, okay, I don't know how to build a funnel, I'm going to this to learn how to build a funnel, but they get experts to help you with sales, copywriting, different things like that. Supporting people in your webinar is very crucial. For me, I like to bring in people, these kind of 3 key people into a webinar. If you have a team, it's always really good to have a back-end support person because if any links break, if anything is going on, that person can go ahead and fix that for you. Also, a back-end person is good in case you have a high ticket offer that needs specific sales plans. For example, I had a client who had a $10,000 offer and then she accidentally forgot a 0 on her offer, but still people needed payment plans. She didn't really want to do a payment plan, so we did a breakout room so that those people could get specific payment plans to them because not everybody needs a 4 offer payment plan or a full year offer payment plan. Some people just need to split it on different cards or split it in 2. So those are different things that people normally do with a back-end person as their webinar support. Another key person in a webinar is somebody to give you a physical testimonial. For me, all of my testimonials will be dropped after this. I have video testimonials. If you can get someone to do a live testimonial, that is good as well. Sometimes those people might have questions for you. For me, my webinar is going to be in the webinar format traditionally, so I can't see the audience can't see the other audience, and the only questions that can be asked are in the Q&A question. That is normally the traditional format for webinars. Some with Zoom, especially after COVID, it became a format where people can just talk to each other. There are different pros and cons to both, but with the option of having where people can talk to you, you can also do Q&A. With those Q&As, especially when you have that testimonial person, sometimes they don't want to ask you questions because your answer will be skewed to, of course, you should buy my program, or of course, you should buy this product. But if you have that testimonial person during Q&A, other people might be able to ask them questions of how the product worked for them, how long it took, and things like that. So that's another person. So we have our back-end support person, we have a testimonial person, and then sometimes this is a very optional one and it depends on budget, but sometimes you might need a hype person or a back-end to the back-end person. So this person is either coming in, letting people in. This person is also curating the music. This person is also watching the chat. The back-end person can do this as well. But what ends up happening is a lot of times we have things that are like, okay, drop a one in the chat, drop your Instagram. You want to capture these informations not only by saving the chat, but making sure, okay, if I'm getting these people's Instagram, I might want to watch them, especially if you're having an accountability group. You might want to find these different people's Instagram so you can make sure that whatever you're helping them with, they are completing it. And not only that, for some webinars, not only the webinar portion of the events are there, sometimes online events are summits, sometimes online events end up being different avenues. Um, I always would suggest, especially if you're doing a challenge, the multiple day challenge, you do need some webinar support of some kind because you will have to do 5 days. And then on the third day of most challenges, they mention a pitch. And then on the last day of a challenge, they do a hard pitch. There's certain things when it comes to extra days. For example, with a VIP offer day, some people do VIP only 30 minutes before their webinar. Some people, especially for a challenge, do the 30 minutes before the challenge. So if you had 5 days or 3 days, would be a total of all of the conglomerate of 30 minutes. Some people for VIP includes extra bundles, and some people for VIP is also one-on-one. So you always have to clarify on whatever sales page that you have exactly what your offer is for your webinar, but it is very important that you figure out exactly what it is you're offering and get that copy down, which is why we do include the AI bot with our plug machine kits. But all of the copy is very essential. That's what's going to sell people, because this is not a traditional sales format where I am on a call with you or even in person and I can answer your objectives. The goal is to already know the objections and answer the objections, and that's why you're having the webinar, to provide the solution. Then on the back end of your webinar, you should provide a bigger solution to a problem that you opened up inside of the webinar. So to be fully transparent, inside of this webinar, we opened up earlier the whole of having landing pages and funnels. To fill that hole, we also have the templates where you can go ahead and get access to the videos, the copy, the automations, and the pages, and have it all together for your webinar. And we've already packaged that up and bundled it for you. Everyone that joined VIP had access to the webinar funnel that you actually joined to get in here. All you have to do is change the logo, change the copy, and it is your full funnel already done. So this is how you make a problem and solve it with a solution. So that's your goal of your webinar. You're solving one solution, but you leave a hole for a bigger problem, and then you solve that problem with your back end offer. So hopefully all of these things did help with figuring out exactly what you need to do for a webinar, some different webinar secrets that not everybody knows, but small things like asking for a phone number might deter somebody from coming to your webinar, whether it's free or not. Things like free webinars might convert higher, but having a paid webinar actually makes sure that you have qualified leads. Some of these small nuances are what can take a small webinar to be maybe just boring, or you just got people in and you're helping them that way, to being a fruitful and successful webinar. Because for me personally, I am going to again be taking this video. It'll be repurposed content, and then this webinar can run evergreen forever. So if you do need help with either your social media part of your webinars, we do have AI bots for that. If you do need help with your landing page part, we have the plug machine template, which takes care of everything. If you need help with your automations, we have the automation piece as well. If you need help with your offer, that is something that is also free with the plug machine, or you can actually get it on our broken up bundles. We have our $100 million offer creation presentation. This is an actual presentation where I successfully helped 10 entrepreneurs for 12 weeks hit their business goals, and they all made their funnels as well. And we had a presentation where we helped craft offers. So you need to be able to make an offer that somebody cannot resist. It needs to be something, again, you make a problem and you solve it with your product or service. And with that, you should be able to get your clients, and not these people will think that you're helping them and you'll be providing them a service even if you have a product. So with all of those things, I'll make sure I drop those links for you. But if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A section. But we are coming up on our 30-minute point, so I don't want to keep you all for too long. So you can go to plugmachine.com to get the full plug machine box template, or you can go to carlissa.gumroad.com to get each of the pieces individually. And if you did stay on to the end of the webinar, we do have a freebie on carlissa.gumroad. You can get access to our 50 call to actions, which I prefer to put on my buttons or on my landing pages, and especially on my social media posts, because you can make a full post, but if you do not tell people to do anything after it, it won't be useful. So you should have access to all of these things. I will briefly share screen and show you all my back end offer so you can get an idea of offers for yourself, or you can join our offer as well. So this is our plug machine webinar in a box. Again, it is $9.97. You get access to a webinar template for Go High Level. If you do need one for system, it is not $9.97. It is only $97, and that was a part of our VIP package. There are email swipe files. You get 3 email swipe files, video training, and AI bots. And the AI bot that we use is actually with ChatGPT-4, so you get access to ChatGPT-4 with the price of your funnel. It's not letting me show y'all the next step, of course not. It's fine. I can go into the back end since we are on a full webinar. So this is the one for system, and this is the one for us. It says we've got it, so I'm not sure. Let's check it out. It's not liking to work for us. That's fine. It might be because we're sharing screen and it goes to the payment page, and the payment has the Stripe, and Stripe is often blocked. But beyond that, I can show you the other backend offers. This is the free offer for the calls to action. Once you click it, you can leave a tip or you can just get it for free. We also have other things that are like that, like our webinar flyer templates, which if you join the webinar, you might have seen one of the flyers actually up. This is the webinar offer creation presentation. And then we've got access to our Go High Level webinar funnel for $2.99 if you just need that. So those are some different examples of offers. It does not have to be, you said, for using this. Yes, so we have the same offer for the funnels for system, and those are $9.97. If you did join, I'll show you where you can access that. If you saw here, you'll have access to VIP, which is the second day for the webinar, which includes Q&A. It will be in the format of traditional Zoom, but you do get access to a system webinar template, which is the same template that you use to sign up. So the template that you use to sign up for this webinar, you would have access to with this purchase. You also get access to a webinar funnel map, which looks like this. Which looks like this. And this tells you things like pricing for a webinar, the proper automations to have after a back-end offer, and key tips for a back-end offer, as well as just the full process start to finish. It tells you the different lead generations and things like that. And then lastly, you get access to the copywriting AI bot, which is right here. I literally was doing a demonstration before I came on today, and this is the AI bot that you'll have access to, which uses one of the higher versions of AI in the back end so that you can get good copy. So that, if you need that, I can drop that for you. And then you'll have access to a system template as soon as you purchase it. And it'll literally be this template that we're looking at right now. So yes, you'll have access to that if you would like that. So are there any other questions as far as having a webinar, any webinar success principles, any questions about the VIP offer or what that includes, or any questions about the backend offer? All right, if not, we are past the 30-minute mark. I try to keep my webinars short and sweet. This replay will be available on YouTube, and it should come to the emails of everybody that signed up by this weekend. And if you need access to the plug machine, the Gumroad, or even the backend offer, I'll make sure that those are in your emails by tonight. I hope that everybody has a great day, and I wish you a successful webinar.